a phenomenal IPL and a compelling season we've had, and a lot of eye openers and shockers, and a few controversies, which is fine. I'm your host Devang Naik, and you're listening to episode 5 of Let's Talk Cricket podcast. Joining me is the co-host Anson. So in our last episode, many of us, many of you all, have, including you, have said that MI were the favorites to win this year, and of course, it was easy to predict because of the way they've been playing the brand of cricket this season, and it's indeed, do you also feel it's the best T20 side in the world at the moment?
Yes, Devang, as you said, it has surely been a memorable IPL, which will surely be remembered for the way the champions Mumbai Indians dominated the full season with some good performances, not just from individuals but the team as a whole. And some experts even went on to say that this current Mumbai squad might just be the best ever T20 franchise team ever. So today on our panel we have Tresna, Rahul and Raj. So, to start off our podcast today, we will talk about some memorable performances and moments in this year's IPL. We have had countless ones, right from the super over in the first week of the IPL itself till Trent Bolt's fiery opening spell in the power play in the final versus Delhi. So, let's just look back at some of these memories now, starting off with you, Devang.
Yeah, my most memorable moment this season is Tewatia's innings against Kings 11 Punjab at Sharjah. In the first time these two met, to be precise, is 5 sixes against Cottrell in 1 over. I mean, that was remarkable from by Tewatia. Brought Rajasthan Royals from a position that looked really difficult for them to, chase a mammoth score of 224. But he started off slow as well, and then Samson actually was the man of the match, and I think where he really anchored the innings. But the player of the moment was obviously Rahul Tewatia, where because of him it was possible for Rajasthan Royals to chase 224. So I think that was a real treat to watch.
Yes, definitely. My favorite memory this season, other than the deadly bowling combination of Bolt and Bumrah, would be the double super over played between the Mumbai Indians and the Kings 11 Punjab. So, after putting up 176 on the board, Mumbai managed to have the match in their control after the wicket of KL Rahul, but a run out on the last ball meant that Kings 11 also ended up on 176. So, in the super over, Bumrah bowled extremely well, but this was equaled by Shami, who was right on the money, which meant the super over also ended up being tied, which was the first time in cricket history. So, in the second super over, they had to switch the bowlers and batsmen, which meant that neither Bumrah nor Shami could bowl again. So, Kings 11 chose Chris Jordan as their bowler, while Mumbai chose Trent Bolt. So, here the experience of the universe boss Chris Gale came in handy for Punjab, which helped Punjab win the game after playing 42 overs. So, this will surely be my favorite memory of this year's IPL and will surely be remembered for a long time, or maybe till we have another double super over.
Yeah, so my memorable moment for this IPL was towards the end of the RCB versus Rajasthan match, where AB de Villiers scored 55 of 22, chasing 178. All seemed to be lost for RCB following the dismissal of Virat Kohli and Devdutt Pathak, with the team struggling at just 102 runs in the 14th over. And with 35 needed of the final 2 overs, we saw it again, the magic of AB de Villiers. It took him 3 balls to flip the game on its head, smashing a hat-trick of sixes off Jaydev Unadkar while scoring 25 runs off the penultimate over and finishing the game in style, hitting Jofra Archer for a maximum with 2 balls left. ABD never fails to produce at least one of these kinds of innings every season.
So my memorable moment will be KKR versus Sunrisers, the super over. Lockie Ferguson's bowling spell. Being his first match, it was something special how he single-handedly won the match for KKR. Took three important wickets during the match, and then yeah, it was a super over, and only conceded I think one or only 2 runs, and had taken two important wickets of David Warner and Manish Pandey. I think it was a special performance, and it was unexpected as well.
For me, as an RCB fan, the most memorable moment would be the double wicket maiden by Siraj against KKR. As all RCB fans would be able to relate, no one, neither the RCB fans nor other IPL fans who have watched the previous editions, had any faith over Siraj for the performances he has given for the team in the past seasons. And there was a lot of unhappiness among the fans since he was picked after being dropped a few matches back for bad performance, and he was picked against KKR. But surprisingly, and I'm sure everyone was surprised, and RCB fans were surprised in a in a good way, and others KKR fans might be in a bad way. But ultimately, he ended up picking a double wicket maiden, and totally, you can say, destroyed the top order of KKR. Credits to Captain Kohli and the RCB management for handing him the new ball, and for the in the first place for picking him in the playing 11. So I think that would be the most memorable moment for me in this IPL. Most memorable, and you can say most surprising also.
This season of the IPL, we have definitely seen some great performances being put in by some uncapped players who have still not made their debut for their countries, and some players which have been underrated so far. So over to you, Tresna, to tell us about your favorite uncapped player.
Yeah, so the IPL is a land of opportunities. It is a platform where talents from all around the world take center stage. A number of cricketers did that in this season of the IPL, but I don't think any youngster did it as often as the Royal Challengers Bangalore opener, Devdutt Pathak. Devdutt did not break a sweat post his maiden half century in his debut game, as he went from strength to strength to become the first batsman in the history of the IPL to score three fifties in their first four innings. He eventually finished with 473 runs from 15 innings, and it did not come as a surprise to anyone that the young batsman was adjudged the emerging player of the season.
Well, my favorite uncapped player this season would be Mumbai's leading run scorer and the fifth overall on the orange cap list, none other than Ishan Kishan. What a season he has had! Right from leading India in the 2016 Under 19 World Cup to making his IPL debut with the Gujarat Lions, Ishan Kishan has always liked to play some exciting cameos powered by his big six hitting ability. This season, we got to see a different side and a more mature batting performance from him, which surely is a result of all his hard work. He announced himself this year with an exciting knock versus RCB, falling just one run short of a well deserved 100, which almost won the game for Mumbai. Over the season, he has mostly batted at the number 4 spot but was asked to open in the innings in the absence of Rohit Sharma. The one thing special about this pocket sized dynamite is his big six hitting ability. He may not be a big built player, but surely packs a punch with his massive sixes, which made him end this season with a total of 30 sixes, which is the most by any batsman this year. So I'm really looking forward to seeing more of this exciting talent in the coming years and hoping that he makes his India debut soon.
My favorite uncapped player this year would be, and for the past 2 3 years also, would be Suryakumar Yadav. It is a big surprise and a shock as to how he still remains to be uncapped. But hopefully, I'm really hoping that by the next season this is not the case, and he doesn't remain uncapped, and he soon gets to play for India. He has been Mumbai Indians' highest run scorer for the past 3 years, and he has been one of their most important players. You can almost say he single-handedly defeated RCB this year in the second encounter against in Mumbai Indians' second encounter against RCB, and his celebration after that victory was probably one of the highlights of IPL this season. And I think most of the people know how great player is, and he's one of India's players who has the highest range of shots. And it would be really a good thing for Indian T20 side if he gets to play for India soon. So I hope that really happens soon enough.
So my favorite player this season will be Varun Chakravarthy, the right-hand mystery spinner for KKR. Uh, he has shown maturity and clearly has been the best player for Kolkata Knight Riders. Since he has played, his economy has been below 6, which is phenomenal for an uncapped player. And he has done something which an experienced player would have done, um, and he has been something special for KKR. And he's literally carried KKR on his own shoulders in terms of wickets and accuracy. Since KKR as a whole team didn't perform well, I think he was the main reason why KKR even won matches. Because of his bowling and because of his accuracy, KKR, winning matches. And I think he's been consistent throughout. Other players hasn't been consistent, and I think I hope he plays for India soon, at least for the T20 format. And this year, Varun Chakravarthy for me has been impressive. He's been phenomenal.
Oh, is it the uncapped player that has been really impressive according to me is Thangarasu Natarajan from Sunrisers Hyderabad. He We saw him the first time in 2016 where he represented the Dindigul Dragons in the inaugural edition of Tamil Nadu Premier League. And then he was picked for the Kings XI Punjab, I think in the 2017 edition in the IPL, but he didn't get as many games. And then he warmed the benches in the next 2 years in 18 and 19. But the way Sunrisers Hyderabad, the management, and David Warner was backed him, I think it showed us all so good in the depth. His Yorkers are amazing, and many experts are calling him as the Yorker Natarajan. So we've seen how well he bowled the final over versus the Delhi Capitals in the qualifier too, and that that showed, that the BCCI selectors saw some spark in him, and now he's going to play. I think the T20 series. I'm not mistaken in Australia. So he's for me the most impressive the Pacers I've seen, the uncapped Pacers I've seen this edition. So after the final, we've spent a lot of time discussing and arguing, waging war against each other for which players to pick, and we've finally come up with our IPL 11. So let's start with Rahil. Start with your openers.
Yeah, so we are going to open with KL Rahul and Shikhar Dhawan. KL Rahul has been brilliant. He's the orange cap holder this season. Been unlucky that he couldn't win matches in the start, but even if Kings 11 Punjab had a small chance of winning, it was because KL Rahul's batting. He was simply brilliant this season. Shikhar Dhawan also wasn't good during the start, but then he proved himself by scoring back to back hundreds and proved himself why he's one of the best openers in India. So I think Dhawan and KL Rahul will be the best combination. KL Rahul will be leading the team because he throughout the tournament he's been calmed and managed his team really nicely. They lost most of the matches in the start, but the the kind of comeback they have made was simply phenomenal. They gave themselves a chance to qualify to the playoffs, couldn't qualify unluckily. But I think KL Rahul has managed the team really nicely. He will be a very impressive captain.
So my number three is Suryakumar Yadav. He's been, such a good and amazing batsman this season. He scored more than 400 runs, and he also has a wide range of shots you can see, and he can even build up the innings for you. He can anchor his role, and then in that middle phase, and then as well as finish the game. So I think he's kind of a 360-degree player for India. We have who's uncapped. And then number four, no surprises, obviously, is Ishan Kishan with more than 500 runs with an average of 57. Most sixes this season. You tell him to open, he'll do the job for you. You play him as a finisher, he won't disappoint you here. So number three is Suryakumar Yadav, and number four is Ishan Kishan.
Yeah, so picking the number 5 and number 6 was no easy task since we saw so many great finishers this IPL. It was really tough choosing the overseas batsmen between Morgan, AB, Pollard, and Puran, but it came down to Pollard and AB. Pollard had the freedom of batting freely most of the time, as compared to AB, who had to rebuild the innings time and again, which is why Pollard had a great strike rate of 191, while AB had a respectable strike rate of 159. In the end, we picked AB since he rebuilt the innings on multiple occasions for RCB. Now, for the sixth spot, we had to choose between Hardik and Tewatia, and we went with Hardik Pandya. He's had an amazing IPL. He didn't get to bowl because of his surgery, but he did splendidly with the bat. He came in and rampaged almost every time with a massive strike rate of 178. So yeah, number five, and number six is Hardik and AB.
Moving ahead with number 7. Number 7 is Jofra Archer. We picked Jofra Archer as our number 7. I don't think anyone needs to be explained as to why the MVP of 2020 season of IPL is included as the number 7. Not only has he been a phenomenal bowler for RR, who has carried their bowling single-handedly on his shoulders and did a great job, I would say. He has one of the highest wickets in the power play, and he never failed to pick wickets in the power play for RR. And even in the death, he has been very useful. Apart from I think one or two games, and this is without having any support of any other bowlers. For example, Bumrah had the support of Trent Bolt, Pattinson. Rabada, on the other hand, had the support of bowlers like Nokia, even Ashwin, whereas there was no notable great bowler who was supporting Archer for RR, and that is what makes his performance in this IPL even greater. And moving ahead with number 8 and number 9 would be our spin twins, and they are going to be Rashid Khan and Yuzvendra Chahal. Both of them have been very important spinners for their sides. They have been introduced into the attack and they have never disappointed in picking wickets. Rashid Khan has an economy rate of around 5.6 this season, which is great in T20 considering he has played all the games for his side, which is really great. So if you have a bowler who bowls 4 overs and concedes only 5 around 6 runs, then it is like the opponents have only 16 overs in an innings. So that makes Rashid Khan great. Also, Rashid Khan can be a handy batsman towards the end. I forgot to mention that about Jofra also. Jofra also, whenever he came to bat, he has been phenomenal for RR. He has played with a very high strike rate, and Rashid Khan also has similar capabilities and abilities. Moving on to Yuzvendra Chahal, even he has been similar for RCB. Whenever RCB needed a wicket, Kohli gave the ball to Chahal, and Chahal never failed to deliver. And this has not only been for this year; it has been for past many years. So yet again, Chahal deserves to be in the IPL 11 for the season 2020.
So to end our playing 11, our two pacers this season would be the highest wicket-taking bowlers. First up being the purple cap winner Kagiso Rabada, and then we have our death bowling specialist and Yorker king Jasprit Bumrah. Now to summarize with the Let's Talk Cricket podcast IPL 11, we have Shikhar Dhawan and KL Rahul as our openers. At number 3, we have Suryakumar Yadav. In the middle order, we have Ishan Kishan and AB de Villiers. As an all-rounders, we have Hardik Pandya and Jofra Archer. Our spin twins being Rashid Khan and Yuzvendra Chahal. And our two pacers would be Kagiso Rabada and Jasprit Bumrah.
So we will be posting about the Let's Talk Cricket IPL 11, followed by the Overseas 11 and the Indian 11, and also the Uncapped 11. So if you guys feel if any players are left out or the players you feel that deserve to be in the 11, please don't hesitate to comment below. And now, kudos to Saurav Ganguly, the BCCI, for making IPL take place during these tough times. And hopefully, the next IPL, which is set to be in the next 5 months from now, will be taking place in India. And meanwhile, do not forget to tune into Let's Talk Cricket podcast on Spotify and YouTube, where we will be bringing you more episodes where India will be touring down under with their first match starting on the 27th of November with the ODIs and followed by the T20 internationals and then the Test series. Looking forward for an exciting international tour. Till then, stay safe and cheers.